Genesis chapter 14. In the days of the kings Erphaphel of Shinar, Arok of Elasar, Cheladomer of Elam, and Tidal of Goim, they made war on the kings Bera of Sodom, Bersha of Gomorrah, Sinab of Admah, Shemibber of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zor. The latter kings joined together as allies in the valley of Siddim, which is now the Dead Sea of Salt. 12 years they had served Chelamer, but in the 13th year they rebelled. And in the 14th year Chelamer and the kings who were with him attacked and subdued Rephaim, the Ashertroth, Karanaim, the Zumim in Ham, and the Emim in Shaveh Kerathaim, and the Horites in their Mount Seir as far as El Paran, which is on the border of the wilderness. Then they turned back and came to En Mishpat, which is now the Kadesh, and subdued all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites who dwelt in Hazazon Tamar. Then the kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Bela, that is Zor, went out, and together they joined battle with those kings in the valley of Siddim. The kings of Chelamer, of Elam, Tidal of Goim, Erphamel of Shinar, and Arok of Elasar, 4 kings against 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of slime or bitumen pits. As the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, they fell, were overthrown there, and the remainder of the kings fled to the mountain. The victors took all the wealth of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all the supplies of provisions, and departed. And they also took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods away with them. Then one who had escaped came and told Abram the Hebrew, one from the other side, who was living by the oaks or terebinths of Mamre, an Amorite, a brother of Ishcol of Aner, and these were the allies of Abram. When Abram heard that his nephew had been captured, he armed, led forth the 318 trained servants born in his own house, and pursued the enemy as far as Dan. He divided his forces against them by night, he and his servants, and attacked and routed them, and pursued them as far as Hobah, which is north of Damascus. And he brought back all the goods, and also brought back his kinsman Lot and his possessions, and the women also and the people. After Abram's return from the defeat and slaying of the Chaldamir and the kings who were also with them, the king of Sodom went out to meet him at the valley of Shaveh, that is, the king's valley. Melchizedek, king of Salem, latter called Jerusalem, brought out bread and wine for their nourishment. He was the priest of God Most High. And he blessed them and said, Blessed, favored with blessings, made blissful, joyful, will be Abram by God Most High, possessor and maker of heaven and earth. And blessed, praised and glorified be God Most High, who has given your foes into your hands. And Abram gave him a tenth of all he had taken. Then the king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the persons and keep the goods for yourself. But Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up my hand and sworn to the Lord God Most High, the possessor and maker of heaven and earth, that I would not take a thread or a shoelace or anything that is yours, lest you say, I have made Abram rich. Take all except only what my young men have eaten, and the share of the men, the allies who went with me, Aner, Ishcol, and Mamre. Let them take their portion.